Hey everybody, welcome to Harmon Garage. I'm Aaron, and I'm an idiot. And I mean that to the fullest extent of the word, because I am a glutton for punishment and I will kick myself when I'm down as much as I can. So you saw in the last video, cherry pie's getting really close. It's almost done. I have a long way to go on Rum Runner and 2 weeks to be at a show with it. I'm replacing a hub assembly for my buddy, and one of my other buddies goes, "Hey, our little town that we live in is having a festival with a car show this weekend." I go, "Oh, that's cool." He goes, "You coming?" I said, "I don't know." He goes, "How can you do what you do and have what you have in this small town and not show up for the only car show of the year that it has?" And I'm like, "You got a good point, but I don't have nothing to take." And he's like, "Well, why don't you take your buddy's cherry pie?" I said, "Well, it's not ready. It needs a fuel pump. It won't just fire up and run on its own. And it's not mine, so I'm not gonna take it and show off somebody else's stuff." What about Rum Runner? I said, "The only way Rum Runner's making it up to that car show is on a trailer. And I don't want to go through all the work of having to put it on the trailer, take it up there, unload it, load it, bring it back, get it back in the shop, all that other crap. And I don't want to deal with it all. I need it sitting there where I can work on it and get it done and whatever." And he goes, "Well, you got Pennywise." I said, "Yeah. Have you looked at that old girl lately? She's way overdue for a bath. The front end over here kind of had a little misunderstanding. Bumper's about to fall off. All that stuff, and that contributes to me being an idiot too, because we were trying to push start that damn army truck with it, and I was like, "I don't need a chain, I'll just edge the bumper up to it and push it." Well, army truck went down a dip and I went up, and yeah, I gotta fix all that. But either way, Pennywise is looking rough. So we've got RJ ready to go to the show, right? Just wash it, drive it over there. Not so much. Missing a few key components to do that, but I've got a few days. So that's why I'm an idiot, and that's what we're doing in this video. Today is Tuesday. Car show's Saturday. I plan on taking RJ up to that show. Of course, running, driving, all cleaned up. Like I said, I have 2 weeks to finish that. That already needs to be done. I'm working on this. I'm an idiot. But what can I say? Got the motor we built for RJ right here. It is essentially ready to set in the truck. All I have to do is adjust the rockers, which is the first thing I'm gonna do. Quick and easy, get it done. Got a transmission sitting over there. We got a bolt of flex plate up to it. I got the tranny and torque converter. We'll bolt those up. I gotta finish the hub assembly on this truck. We'll get RJ brought up here, get the motor and tranny set in RJ, and go from there. So buckle in, hold on, grab a snack, here we go. All right, well, as you can see over here, the truck I was doing the hub assembly on is done and gone, and we got all RJ pushed up here. First thing I gotta do here is adjust the valves on this motor, and yeah, I mean, I go through the method where you just keep going around and around and around and turning the motor until they're all at zero lash where you want them, and then give them like a half a turn. So I'm gonna go ahead and burn through that real quick, and then we'll move on to the next step. Okay, I went through them all probably 3 times. Everything snug and good. So put my preload on them. A couple of them still rattle a little bit, but the lifters aren't pumped up. So that should take care of itself when the lifters pump up. And everything should roll around. All my valves are moving, so should be good to go. Going to, I guess I'll put the valve covers on, and then we'll probably bring the cherry picker over here and get this thing off the stand and keep going. Okay, as per the usual, I got studs for the valve covers instead of bolts because that's my preference. So I got all my studs started. Now I'm just going through, snugging them down. Alright. Regular cork gaskets like usual. And then, I'm not sure if I told you guys this already or not, but I know I told you that this truck was for my son. I bought it back from my nephew. It was supposed to be, or it was my nephew's first truck I built for him. It was supposed to be my first truck that I built for my son. And we went and got it, and I built this motor for it and all that, and he decided that it was too big, and he wanted a smaller car, something smaller to drive, and he was kind of intimidated by the truck. So me and his mom went out and got him something that suited him better, and now I've got another square body, which, you know, it is what it is. I wanted, the truck's not going anywhere, it's staying in the family. I already had the motor and everything done, but the reason I didn't, you know, rush through to get it done by the time he got his license is because he didn't want it. So it's kind of just sitting here waiting in line until I had time. And honestly, with the time crunch and everything that I'm on, it should still be sitting here waiting, but like I said before, I'm not the brightest crayon in the box. So, but hopefully I can push through this. I have everything, hopefully I have everything laying around to do it, and I can knock out this whole project in about 2 days. We'll see what happens. But the reason we got cool valve covers and all that stuff is because this is all stuff that I bought when it was going to my son. I wanted him to have a nice looking truck, so we cleaned up and painted the motor when we built it, bought nice valve covers. I bought headers, got new accessory pulleys for everything. It should look halfway decent. It don't take any longer to put those parts on than it does the old parts, so it'll get them all, it'll look good. Alright, valve covers are started. Let me go get a wrench, tighten these valve covers down, and then I'll get the cherry picker over here, get the motor hung, and then I'll bring you guys back. Alright, I got it off the stand. We'll go ahead and put our flex plate on there, and then we can bring the transmission over here and get it bolted up. It's a little bit too much. Hope I don't have to take it back off again. So I guess I could have really pushed myself to try to get Rum Runner ready for that car show this weekend, but I definitely wouldn't have made it to the car show because there ain't no way that truck would be done in 3 days. This one might not be either, but there's a better chance of it than that one. So we'll see what we can do. I gotta go in the morning and get a fuel pump, put it in cherry pie, see if I can't get it done. We'll see what happens. Alright, I got those all run down. Now I'm going to go ahead and go back and torque them to spec. So torque spec on these is, yep, 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 yep. Alright, let's go get the transmission. Keep on moving on. Alright. I had to go run and get some bolts, and I got sidetracked and everything else, but we're ready to put the dang transmission on again. So, all right. Last thing I'm going to do before I set this in the truck is put the mechanical fuel pump on and bolt the clamshells for the motor mounts to the block. So I'll just go ahead and hurry up and knock that out. We'll lift this thing up, drop it in the truck. Okay, well, after all the other stuff I did this morning and changing that hub assembly for that guy, my buddy, and all that stuff, I got maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours worth of work on old RJ here. And as you just saw in the time lapse, I got the motor and trans set in. So got the fuel pump put on. Obviously, if I got it sitting in the truck, motor mounts are on. I still have to put the tranny cross member in. I'm just gonna slam that in real quick tonight, just to hold the transmission up so I can get my jack inside. It's already getting later, close to dinner time, and I've been in the habit of taking my little 2-year-old girl to the playground so she can play on the slide every day, and it's getting to be late enough that it's almost too late for that to happen. So my number one top priority right now is getting home to take my 2-year-old to the playground. So I'm just gonna slam that transmission cross member in there real quick, put 2 bolts in it just to hold it, and yeah, and then I'm gonna call it a day. And then I'm probably not gonna work on anything but RJ tomorrow unless I throw the fuel pump in cherry pie real quick. But yeah, car show this weekend, we'll have her done. All right, here I am, the idiot's back. So it's day 2 working on this. Well, the second day of working on it. I didn't put in a full day yesterday, but second day of working on it. It's Thursday, and the car show that it has to be at is Saturday. So I got over here this morning. I got everything underneath that's hard to film done. Headers are in, starters in, torque converter bolts are bolted up, tranny cooler lines are in, exhaust is bolted up to the headers and rehung in the back, speedometer's hooked up, shifter linkage is hooked up, drive shaft's in. I might have mentioned that already, but everything underneath is done. So I got that all knocked out because it's hard to film underneath. So now I can get started on everything up here. I have an alternator. I have the alternator mounting stuff. I've got the pulleys. I don't know what I'm gonna do about power steering yet. This is a Hydro Boost truck because it was originally a diesel. And the last motor that was in here was a big block. So it's kind of got like a big block setup with a reservoir that's leaking all over the floor. So I might try to bolt the big block setup up, but I can already tell just by looking at it that it's not gonna line up. So I'm gonna have to, I don't even have anything to rob a power steering pump off of. Like, I might. It's not gonna be for Hydro Boost though. I'll figure something out with the power steering, but everything else is bolt on, ready to go. So I'm gonna go. It's getting to be about 11 o'clock. I've been going since pretty early this morning, so I'm gonna shut down, run and get some lunch, and then as soon as I get back, I already have the positive battery cable hooked to the starter. I already have the fuse box and exciter wire hooked to the starter. So I'm gonna go, the first thing I'm gonna do is run my grounds, hook my battery up, and then I can bump the motor over and get top dead center, slam the distributor in, put my spark plugs in, run my wires, get a carburetor on, yada, 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 yada. This thing will be running hopefully early this afternoon. So you guys hang tight, and we'll be at it in a second. All right, rather than hooking the battery up, turning this over like I told you I was going to, just gonna spin it over by hand, get the pointer about where it should be. And I'm gonna stick something in there and see if I can feel the top of the piston. And that ain't gonna fit. Top of the piston's there. I'm gonna run it around again and see if I hear it blow anything out. And I didn't. So we'll go around one more time. All right, we'll drop our distributor right there. And then when we go to fire it up and it's 180 out, we'll pull it back out and re-stab it. But at least we got a good starting point here. Alright, I'm gonna go grab the distributor and we'll get ready to throw her in there. Alright, I'm gonna get up in here. See if I can see anything. Get this sucker set down in there. Got that stabbed in there. Get that snuck down. Get our cap and stuff. Got all our wiring that we need right here. So yeah, I'll get some more stuff and we'll start getting her put on. Alright, well, I've been working pretty steady. Got quite a bit of stuff done. Finished up the distributor, got all the wires plugged in, caps on. Spark plugs are in, wires are hooked up. I got my fuel line from the hard line from the tank to the pump hooked up. Carburetor's on. I've tightened down the motor mounts that I had forgotten to tighten down. I put my fitting for my oil pressure switch in, and my oil pressure switch is on its way right now. So I'm almost to a point where I can fire it up. I can't fire it up without the oil pressure switch because we'll start shooting oil all over the place. But I've got new pulleys here. Got my water pump pulley. Got my balancer pulley. Alternator bracket, upper alternator bracket. So can start getting the alternator mounted, get my pulleys on, and then I need a fan, some belts, and I don't know yet what I'm gonna do about the power steering, but I'll figure that out. So I'm just gonna keep going. I'm gonna get everything else buttoned up. We'll get the radiator put in, get all that hooked up, figure out a fan and fan shroud, and yeah, that should do it. But I'm gonna slap some of these parts on real quick, get that out of the way, wait for that oil pressure switch to come, and we're about ready to fire this thing up. All right, well, pretty much the end of the day, Thursday. I was gonna stay and try to get a little extra done, but I've got family dinner tonight again that I can't miss. So they're about ready to go now. My goal for today was to get this thing started, and I'm still gonna try to do it. I'm really close. I gotta fill the cooling system up. I gotta run fuel line from my mechanical fuel pump up to the carburetor, and I have to hook up my ground cable. So 5-10 more minutes, I should be able to fire it up, and then we'll have it running. And then I'll have all day tomorrow to tie up loose ends, try to get some power steering and brakes on this thing, and see what happens. So I'm optimistic. There's a lot of other stuff I want to try to do tomorrow. We'll see how much I can get done. I want to address a few of the dings and dents in the body, not like body work and paint or nothing, just try to straighten them up a little bit. And clean it real good, try to get it washed up and cleaned up good. Have power steering and brakes, that would be a plus. And if I can get it cleaned up and I have time, I got some carpet I can put in here too. So we'll see what time allows. It's looking pretty good to make it to the show Saturday, but there's still no guarantee. I could hit the key in this thing right now and this motor could lock up, blow up. Who knows? So there's no promises. It's almost together, but that doesn't mean I built it, so not saying much. Alright, well, I guess I kind of ran out of stuff to talk about for the minute. Not going to make you guys sit here and watch me fill up the cooling system. So I'm going to finish off filling this up. I'm going to run my fuel line real quick. At least, it's not going to be temporary. I'll run it because it takes just as long to make a temporary one. I'll run that. I'll do my ground. And I'll bring you guys back and we'll see. The oil pressure sending unit that I waited for all day was the wrong one. So I gotta find a plug or something to screw into that, or I'm gonna find out the hard way that I have oil pressure. So I gotta do that too, and I gotta go in the morning and get a new oil pressure gauge or switch. So see what happens. Alright, well, had a little hitch in my giddy up. And I'm out of time. My mom and my niece have been in town. They're leaving in the morning. They want to take us to dinner tonight, and I can't really tell them no. And we're going to my favorite place, so I really kind of can't tell them no. And I was trying to rush and get this done just so I could start it today, but I had a water leak at the thermostat housing, and I'm still not 100% sure that it's sealed up, but I'm watching it and it doesn't look like it's growing. Radiator staying full. I got my fuel line ran, but I don't have any more small hose clamps, so I don't really want to run it without hose clamps. And I don't have a plug to put in the hole where the oil pressure switch goes. So I don't really want to be squirting oil all over the place. So the place that we're going to eat is right next door to O'Reilly's, conveniently. So I'll go there, get what I need tonight, come over first thing in the morning, and within 20-30 minutes in the morning, we should have this thing purring like a kitten. So that's the goal. I won't do it without you guys, I promise. I'm gonna make you be here to watch this. So hold tight. All right, finally got our oil pressure sender. I tied up a few other loose ends this morning while I was waiting for it to get here. I got here about 7:30 and it wasn't gonna be at the parts store till 10. So I did a bunch of little stuff, got some stuff wrapped up, got some stuff hooked up. Sorry, I'm grabbing one last thing, but it's ready. Oil in the motor, gas. I gotta put gas in the tank. It's got oil in the motor, it's got water in the radiator, it's got everything it needs to run but gas. So I'm gonna slap some gas in it right now. Gotta put a vacuum cap on the carburetor, and then we're gonna see what's happening with this thing. All right, we got her filled up with fuel. Like I said, everything else should be hooked up right. I'm gonna go ahead and crank it over, and we're gonna watch for oil pressure, and we're gonna watch for fuel in fuel filter. And when we get both of those, should be ready to fire up. So let's see if we see anything on this oil pressure gauge. Alright, well, we might already be 180 out because we got fuel and it's spitting fuel out the carburetor. So, yeah, I'm going to try adjusting the distributor just a little bit, see what happens there. And if it keeps spitting out the carburetor, I'm going to have to adjust that. Yeah, we're not getting spark or something. All right, well, I'm gonna mess with the timing a little bit, and we'll see what happens. All right, I adjusted the timing 180 degrees. Kind of got it somewhere in the area I think it needs to be. I'm gonna hit the key and see what we get now. Alright, well, we got something. Go back and forth till we find out what it wants. Apparently that's not what it wants. Too far retarded. Well, I'll go back a little bit that way, see what happens. I don't got the choke hooked up yet, so we're just going to block her open. Pretty good. I've topped off all the fluids, checked everything, let it run for a little bit, as you can see, the temperature's up about normal operating temp, maybe a little under, and we still got 40 plus pounds of oil pressure. I got it idling a little on the high side just to help with some of the break-in stuff, but it's running. It moves. So I'm gonna take it for a little rip up and down the road. I don't have power steering hooked up and it has Hydro Boost, so my brakes and steering are questionable at best. So I'm gonna go ahead and then mount the camera to the windshield here and take it for a little rip up and down the highway here and see how it does, and then if it does good, we'll try to finish up the rest of the stuff so we can get it to the show tomorrow. So let's take it for a run, see how it goes. All right, there it is. Runs, drives, stops, turns, does burnouts, you know, all that stuff. So technically right now, I can get in this truck in the morning and I can take it to the car show. So I call that a win. We made it. I'd say it's about 1 2/3, maybe 2 full days of work to have it to where it's at right now. Maybe not quite 2 days. So I'm pretty happy. Now, I'm gonna keep on working on this thing and do more stuff to get it ready for the show for tomorrow. You guys are gonna get a that's all, folks, and you'll have to tune in to the next video on Sunday to see what else I do to the truck and see the truck at the show tomorrow. So today's Friday. I'm getting this video out for you guys today. I'm gonna keep working on the truck for a couple hours. I'll film some of that. I'll film a little bit of the truck show or the car show tomorrow, and then I'll get another video up for you guys on Sunday. So if you want to make sure you see what else I do to the truck and check out a little bit of the car show, make sure you're subscribed. Leave me a comment, hit the like button. What do you think? I'm super stoked about having old RJ back on the road. We've owned this truck, my family has owned this truck for 6 years. And out of that 6 years, it's probably been on the road a total of 8 or 9 months. So this is it. Like, it's 100% mine again. I built the motor, the trans is good. It's all put together. It's gonna get daily driven, or my wife's gonna use it to go antique shopping, or we're gonna use it to haul furniture, or whatever the case it may be. It's gonna be a family driver truck, whatever we need to do with it. So it's gonna stay put together. It's not gonna keep getting motor swaps and stuff like it did before. And it's just gonna get driven. So I appreciate you guys coming along for the ride. I had a lot of fun doing this. It's been a while since I pushed myself to do something like this, and I can make it to the show tomorrow. That was the whole goal. So make sure you guys tune in to the next video, see the rest of the progress here and it going to the show. And as always, if it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be able to do this. So y'all have a good one. We'll see you next time.